أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه الأخيار. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الباب السادس في الإيجاز والإطناب والمساواة. We are back to the original copy, not original copy, we are back to the copy that we were using. We are going to look at the sixth chapter per this book. So you know that now we've borrowed like 2 more chapters from the other book. So we can see that under Al-Ilm al-Ma'ani we have about 8 or so chapters. It says Al-Babu Sadis fil Ijazi, chapter 6, that will be talking about Al-Ijaz. When we talk about Ijaz, we are talking about brevity. Yani using a few words to convey the meaning you intend to convey. I think we spoke about this when we were talking about the Muqaddimah, right? والإطناب. Itnab is when you are verbose, Jamil. You are wordy. You use a lot of words to convey a meaning. And then al-musawa is when you use the normal words, or let me say the medium expected words for a particular meaning. So I have a meaning in me to tell you that the boy is standing, right? I can have the boy is standing, which is musawat, right? With al-itnab, I can have the boy is in a vertical position, and that is itnab. I'm being verbose. And ijaz is where I have something like he's standing, maybe he's standing, a few words to convey the same meaning. So you have the same meaning, you use few words, you are being brief, that is ijaz. You are being verbose, that is itnab. You are using the expected words, that is musawat. يعني ساويت بين المفردات والمعنى. Jamil. Let's look at what this topic has for us. So we are now under علم المعاني الإيجاز والإطناب والمساواة. Says كل ما يجول في الصدر من المعاني يمكن أن يعبر عنه بثلاث طرق. كل ما يجول بمعنى جالة، يعني anything that roams في الصدر, in the chest. يعني anything of meaning من المعاني that you have in your chest. You have something on your chest you want to convey, right? يمكن أن يعبر عنه, it can be expressed بثلاث طرق, by 3 ways. It can be expressed by 3 means. The 3 means are what we've already seen, but they are going to explain to us. The first is al-musawa. Of course, that is expected. That is just be using the normal words that is expected for that particular meaning. It says وهي تأدية المعنى المراد بعبارة مساوية له. You delivering that meaning that you intend to deliver with expression that matches it. بعبارة مساوية له. بأن تكون على الحد الذي جرى به عرف أوساط الناس, such that the expression you use is على الحد الذي, is on the limit that people's urf, people's norms, people's ada are used to. The أوساط الناس, the common people, what they are used to. So if I want to say there is power outage, there is a way everybody would understand it with the normal words everybody use. Also, there is a light off, there is doomsday, or any expression like that. The people are used to this expression, and that is the number of words actually their ears are expecting. Jamil says وهم الذين لم, this أوساط الناس, says he defines them, says وهم الذين لم يرتقوا إلى درجة البلاغة. This أوساط الناس, the common people, they are those that لم يرتقوا إلى درجة البلاغة. They haven't climbed or elevated to the level of balagha, so that you say these people are baligh. No, we are not talking about the baligh or bulagha. We are talking about the normal people, right? So they haven't elevated to the level of baligh. وَلَمْ يَنْحَطُّوا إِلَى دَرَجَةِ الْفَهَاهَةِ. Likewise, they haven't regressed, or they haven't fallen low to the level of fahaha. Fahaha is where your expression is weak. So you see, when you go out, the common people, let's say here in our environment, they speak Hausa, right? For those who speak English, when you go out to have a conversation, that normal conversation everybody is having, and not retarded people, not stupid people and all that normal level of conversation, those people, you cannot tell them, they are not poets, they are not some literateurs for you to say they are Balāgha. Likewise, they are not dumb for you to say they are speaking, their level of speaking is at the level of fahaha, Jamil. And so they are in the moderate level. As for example of Musawa, وَإِذَا رَأَيْتَ الَّذِينَ يَخُوضُونَ فِي آيَاتِنَا فَأَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ. Says, if you see those that are getting into the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and saying stuff that are ugly, أَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ, turn away from them. Don't get into that conversation. So you see, just the normal words, وَإِذَا رَأَيْتَ الَّذِينَ يَخُوضُونَ فِي آيَاتِنَا. If you see those who are doing unnecessarily trespassing in our signs, our verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, أَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ, go away from them. This is Musawa, Jamil. Now we come to الإيجاز. Says والإيجاز وهو تعدية المعنى بعبارة, look at it, ناقصة عنه مع وفائه بالغرض. So إيجاز is where you convey the meaning with an expression that is ناقصة, that has fallen short, and it falling short of the words needed for conveying that meaning. But then مع وفائه, whilst fulfilling the purpose, مع وفائه بالغرض, whilst fulfilling the purpose. You have a meaning to convey, you use a few words than expected, but still you convey the meaning that everybody expects. نحو إنما الأعمال بالنيات. إنما الأعمال بالنيات, when you pick up the sharh, any of the shuruh of the hadith, and you see how إنما الأعمال بالنيات is explained, then you wonder, how is this done? But anybody that knows Arabic, the moment the person sees إنما الأعمال بالنيات, the person sees those meanings, because you know إنما to be part of the al-asalib al-hasr, right? You know that already. We saw that in the al-hasr, or was it al-qasr? Jamil. So with the moment you see it, and you see the way binniyat has its own dalala, al-amal has its own dalala, innama has its own dalala, inna and the ma. So the moment you see this and you know Arabic, the meaning, the full meaning is conveyed to you, Jamil, but the meaning is larger than the words. So in this case, we say that there is al-Ijaz. Says, فَإِذَا لَمْ تَفِ بِالْغَرَضِ سُمِّيَ إِخْلَالًا. If this thing that you've said, لَمْ تَفِ بِالْغَرَض, Jamil, yani you've used a few words to convey, trying to convey a particular meaning, but then you were not able to successfully convey the meaning using the few words. What do they say? They've said that there is ikhlal. Ikhlal bimana, there is some breach. Ikhlal means that you've broken something. So I want to convey a particular meaning, then I use a few words thinking I want to do ijaz, and then the meaning is not conveyed. There has been a violation, Jamil. So we call that ikhlal. And then it says كَقَوْلِهِ. For example, when the poet says, so ikhlal is also used in contract, right? Ikhlal is also used in contract. Bimana, when there is two parties signed to a deal and one party fails to fulfill it or fails to honor what is on their part, they say that the person has done ikhlal, meaning the person has violated it or the person has failed to fulfill what is upon the person. So when you fail to fulfill the meaning, the purpose, then we say you've done ikhlal. The poet says, وَالْعَيْشُ خَيْرٌ فِي زِلَالِ النُّوقِ مِمَّنْ عَاشَ كَدًّا. The poet says that وَالْعَيْشُ خَيْرٌ فِي زِلَالِ النُّوقِ, yani life is better in stupidity, in being foolish. Jamil. مِمَّنْ عَاشَ كَدًّا is better than life is good in stupidity than the one that lives in hardship. Now, this is the text of the poem. There is no point to show you to what the poet really means. And we will see what the poet means right away. The poet wrote that wal-aish, living or livelihood, is good fi zilali nuqi, in the shades of stupidity. Yani when you are stupid, you live good. Mimman asha kadda, than the one that lives in hardship. Jamil. Now look at it. Muraduhu, what the poet actually wanted to convey is that أن العيش الرغد في ظلال الحمق خير من العيش الشاق في ظلال العقل. The poet wanted to compare that when you are good life in the shade of stupidity is better. Good life is better in the shades of, or in the condition of stupidity, when you are being foolish to live good, is better than al-aish shaq, than difficulty fi zilal al-aqli, in the condition of being wise. Yani the foolish person living good is better than the wise person living in hardship. But that wasn't conveyed here. The poet tried to be brief, but he couldn't convey that meaning. Jamil, it was through explanation that people got to know that, but this is far from it. So in this case, we say that he has done ikhlal. Jamil. And then the last one, which is Afwan. Sorry, the PC started misbehaving a bit. So he says that the الإطناب, as we said, it says وهو تأدية المعنى بعبارة زائدة عنه مع الفائدة. الإطناب is where you convey the meaning, Jamil, but بعبارة زائدة عنه, by using extra expression longer than the meaning you want to convey. Ma'al fa'ida, pay attention, it is not to just use words for nothing. With benefit, yani I'm using a lot of words, but a lot of words, they have their fa'ida. Jamil. Nahu, for example, Rabbi inni wahana al-azmu minni washta'ala al-ra'su shayba. Oh my Lord, my bones have become weak. واشتعل الرأس شيبة, and my head has caught the fire of gray hair. Yani my head has become gray. I kabirtu, he's telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he has grown. With all these expressions, what he wanted to say is Rabbi inni kabirtu. That is what he wanted to say. Now there is something I have to draw your attention to. The usage of kabira and kabura. Jamil, in some lessons I've said it, but then I have to repeat it again. I don't know where I even said it. We have the word into kabira and then the kabura. Like the way they say kaburtu and then kabirtu. So as that physical growth that you say, oh, the boy has grown, you hear people say kabura al-walad. Kabura al-waladu. That is not the right expression to use. We say kabira al-waladu. Kabira al-waladu. Kabura is used in situations. Jamil is used in issues. Like the way we see in the Quran, كَبُرَ مَقْتًا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَن تَقُولُوا مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. It is most hateful. Yani the disgust of it, for you to say what you do not do, that condition of disgust, kabura, is massive in the Allah, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for you to say what you do not do. Jamil. Now, so the kabura is not used for the physical growth of humans like this. So ana kabirutu, and then kabura ghadabu, or kabura ghadaban. Jamil. Kabura, you use it for issues, specifically not for physical growth of people. So next time when you say kabira, you say kabira al-waladu. Jamil. So he wanted to say kabirutu, right? But then he said, Rabbi inni wahana al-azmu minni. My bones have become weak. Washta'ala ar-ra'su shayba, and my head have become gray, like a lot of gray. Jamil. Says فإذا لم تكن, this إطناب, إذا لم تكن في الزيادة فائدة, if the ziyada there is no faida in it, what happens? سمي تطويلا. If you do إطناب and there is no faida in the ziyada, then the ziyada is called تطويلا إن كانت زيادة غير متعينة. Now, there are some kind of ziyada. I can pinpoint that this is the additional words. Jamil, I use a lot of words to express a simple meaning. And the ziyada, the extra words, is not important. You can see clearly that the sentence is too much. The words is too wordy. But you can pinpoint that these are the extra words. In that case, we call the statement tatwil. And also, when you can actually pinpoint that, oh, this is the extra word, you can take it out. And now you have your sentence being maybe musawa or something like that. Then we call that extra, we call it hashwan. So if you do extra, but we can't point out which is the extra here. We can see it is too much, but we can't pinpoint the extra, we call it tatwil. If we can actually point out the extra, then we say it is called hashu. In ta'ayyanat, yani in ta'ayyanat al-ziyada. Jamil. Example of such in the tatwil is where he says وَأَلْفَى قَوْلَهُ قَوْلَهَا كَذِبًا وَمَيْنًا. These two, they both mean kadhib, they both mean lies. Jamil. Now when he says وَأَلْفَى قَوْلَهَا, أي أَلْفَى بمعنى وَجَدَ, he found her statement to be lies. So he just needed one word for lies, right? He needed either كذبًا or مينا. That's all. But now, how do we tell that this is the ziyada in this sentence? One might hasten to say that, oh no, the ziyada is the وَمَيْنًا, because كذبًا comes first. So, sorry. Where we've gotten to now, at least we should be able to identify that this doesn't show that this is the ziyada. Yani mainan coming after wow doesn't show that mainan is the ziyada, because wow here, as we said, when you bring it tufidu mutlaq al-jam', when you bring the wow, it doesn't show tartib, it doesn't show sequence like fa and thumma, right? You remember that very well. So when you bring fa in between two things, it shows that both of them are at play. It doesn't show which one is first, which one is last, and all that. So you having mainan coming after kadiban, it shows that they are all in their own position. There is none that is first and none that is last. So here we can pinpoint that this is the ziyada or this is the ziyada. He just needed one. وَأَلْفَى قَوْلَهَا كَذِبًا or وَأَلْفَى قَوْلَهَا مَيْنًا. That's all. But then of course also he also needs to complete his meter. So in this case we call such a prolongment, we call it tatwil. يعني طول في الكلام. And then والحشو, example of the hashu, where the poet says وَأَعْلَمُ عِلْمَ الْيَوْمِ وَالْأَمْسِ قَبْلَهُ. This is the Zuhair ibn Abi Sulma from his Mu'allaqa. Very beautiful. His poetry is fantastic. وَأَعْلَمُ عِلْمَ الْيَوْمِ وَالْأَمْسِ قَبْلَهُ. He says that I have the knowledge of today, Jamil, وَالْأَمْسِ قَبْلَهُ, and yesterday before it. The who here shows what? It shows the اليوم. يعني وأعلم علم اليوم والأمس قبل اليوم. So the قبله kind of defines the أمس, right? So when he says وأعلم علم اليوم, I have the knowledge of today. والأمس, does he need to tell us that قبله قبل اليوم? أمس, we all know that أمس is قبل اليوم. So the قبله is an addition that is not needed. Here you can point right away that this is the ziyada, because ams itself is the day or days before today, so you don't need to tell us the qablahu. So here ta'ayyanat ziyadatu, so we call it hashu. Jamil. Of course, as we are explaining, I plead with you, do not leave out the explanation of Sheikh. I've told you why I normally go to his books, right? His books, I learned he was a teacher. You know, all the scholars, they are teachers, right? But one senior of mine told me that he was a teacher, kind of these basic kind of teachers. So when you are reading his sharh, sometimes you hear question and answers in it like they are teaching kids, and we are kids in Arabic language. So normally I prefer his books for the beginner level because they really aid a lot. There are a lot of clarities in most of the places. So do not leave away the sharh. Try to touch on it. Says وَمِن دَوَاعِ الْإِيجَازِ, yani things that causes us to do ijaz. Dawa'i yani asbab al-ijaz. That is the tasheel al-hifz. Why should somebody use a few words for a particular longer meaning? Sometimes the person wants to make hifz easy. Like when you look at Alfiyat ibn Malik, you look at the Ajrumiyya, even Qatr al-Nada, not the Sharh, right? You look at all these other books, yani Al-Jazariyya, Shatibiyya, you find that a bayt has a lot of things under it. So they actually do ijaz in the abiyat. They do that litasheel al-hifz, so that we can memorize easily. Because the few words are there and the few words convey the meaning that is intended. Also, taqribul faham, bringing the understanding closer. The more I become verbose, probably I could make you be sitting down waiting for me to end the meaning, right? But the moment I say it quick, I bring the meaning closer to you. And it qarrabtu ilayka al-fahm. Wadiqul maqam, sometimes too, people are brief because there is no much time. You are given the mic to speak and they tell you have 5 minutes to speak. Of course, you would have to hasten in that manner. That was also part of the reasons of the ijaz. It says, wal ikhfa. Sometimes you do ijaz to hide some meanings from some people. Because when I do ijaz, somebody that is on the level of fahaha cannot catch what I'm saying. Okay, sometimes a person cannot reach it. وَسَآمَةُ الْمُحَادَثَةِ. Sometimes too, you are just bored of the hadith. سَئِمْتَ مِنَ الْكَلَامِ الْكَثِيرِ. Yani, you are bored of speaking plenty. So you just do, you are just brief with it. Okay. And then وَمِن دَوَاعِ الْإِطْنَاب, things that causes us to do itnab, yani be verbose. تَثْبِيتُ الْمَعْنَى, affirming the meaning. So I tell you, the boy is standing at a vertical angle of 90 degrees or at a vertical angle of 180 degrees and facing now. I do a lot of words so that I show you specifically how you stand. This is, I'm affirming the meaning for you, right? Also, tawdih al-murad, clarifying what you intend, because most of the times in the ijaz, what can happen is misunderstanding. That is why this Alfiya to Ibn Malik, Alfiya to Suyuti, and all these abiyat and all that, if somebody doesn't explain to you and you want to use your basic Arabic language to understand, you would understand it wrongly. Most poems are treated unfairly because people do not have all these malakat. Yani. Tawdihul murad, clarifying what you intend. If you want to clarify what you intend, you have to do itnab. What tawqidu, and emphasizing. Sometimes you are verbose to emphasize. Like when Sayyidina Astaghfirullah, where he says, Rabbi inni wahana al-azmu minni washta'ala al-ra'su shayba. When he says that, what is he doing? He is emphasizing his situation, right? Because look at it. I can tell you that I'm grown in the sense that, let's say at most I'm 90 years. I don't know if you know of Dr. Sebi. I don't think he's alive now. Dr. Sebi was he around 90 or so? Then I saw him jump with his knee down, and he was still fine. So just me telling you I'm grown doesn't show that I'm weak. But this is the situation where the person wants to clarify clearly that I am in this situation. So not just to say inni kabirtu. The murad, he wants to clarify what he intends. So he says, Rabbi inni wahna al-azmu minni. I'm weak now. So if you are listening to him, you are having the picture clearly. Washta'ala al-ra'su shayba, and my hair has become gray. If you had just stuck to my hair is gray as well, your head can be gray when you are even 25, 20. If it's just wahana al-azmu minni as well, your bones can be weak because maybe you are sick, not that you are old. So when he says Rabbi inni wahana al-azmu minni washta'ala al-ra'su shayba, he has clarified that he's old and weak. Jamil. Wadaf'ul iham, and also pushing away imaginations, pushing away wrong imaginations. Yani, when you want to, that comes to clarify the add up to the tawdih al-murad. You don't want the person to understand something that you do not intend. So you are verbal so that you are able to clearly put the person's hands on what you intend. Jamil. This brings us to the end of the Al-Ijaz, not the whole end of it, the introductory part of it. I think next we will be going a bit deeper into it. We have the Aqsam Al-Ijaz, and from there we go down. Inshallah, we are done with the Ilm al-Ma'ani like that. May Allah ease the path for us. May Allah bless whatever we learn here and make it practical for us. For me, it's not just about learning these things and being able to rant it, right? Learning all these things, the purpose is for you to see a verse and be able to appreciate the beauty of the verse. The purpose is for you to see a poem, a bait, and be able to appreciate it. Because most of the times, as I said, we are very unjust to the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, very unjust to ahadith, very unjust to verses of poem. So may Allah grant us good understanding. Till we meet again on our next topic, have a very good Arabic time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.